All right, Mac Daddy, as in Big Mac. Now you've got the Grand Mac and you've got the Junior Mac, but we've got the Big Mac here at Legacy Studios in East Liverpool. And this is, of course, from the wonderful McDonald's out in Calcutta. You know, I got to tell you, there ain't nothing better than wrapping up a long day with an ice cold Coca-Cola. And to top it off, there you go, folks. It is the Big Mac. Love what McDonald's does. Now, also, I love the NFL, and the owners are meeting, and that's going to be through tomorrow in Phoenix. And also, the NCAA Final Four are going to be at the University of Phoenix, so a big week in the desert. But I love the fact that there is a football team headed to the desert, as in the Oakland Raiders by 2019. Ted Arnaud on the AT&T Sports Line now as we continue. Well, Teddy, here we go, off to Las Vegas. Will that partnership work? The NFL and the city that never sleeps.
Well, it's going to be very interesting. And what more fitting team to wind up in Las Vegas than the Oakland Raiders? I mean, it's like a storybook that you got just coming together. I think it's going to work. Vegas is a growing town. It's got, it had a struggle through the 2008-2009, but it's really becoming much more of a destination tourist town than just a gambling town. You've got a lot of people who live there now. You've got some great universities. You've got some businesses that are sprouting up all over the state. If you look at Reno, which will become a market for this Las Vegas team, their high-tech aspects of the whole Reno market is exploding. So I think this is going to do nothing but help Las Vegas, and I think it may actually help us get past this aura of that gambling is in NFL cannot coexist, and that we shouldn't have nationwide sports betting. I hope that the NFL has now seen that these two can coexist. They can be good for each other, and I think, let's get it out of the back rooms and get it into the front room and let everybody have fun.
All right, now listen, I'm going to go through some statistics here just for the sheer fact to let people know the NFL and these owners put their money where their mouth is. This is a $1.7 billion dome stadium they're talking about building in Las Vegas, and $750 million in public funding, but a whole lot of hundreds of million going to be put in by the Davis family and the NFL. And let's just be honest, they tried for years, Mark Davis, to find a way to make it work in Oakland. Didn't work. They ended up going to the Coliseum. Then they came back again. It was a last-ditch effort, but it just couldn't get done. The numbers weren't there. St. Louis obviously got the Rams out of Los Angeles, but they realized they needed to go back there, and St. Louis just could not continue to do what Los Angeles can. And the folks in San Diego had an opportunity to keep the Chargers, but they didn't make it happen. So 3 moves under Commissioner Roger Goodell, but I think if this was a chess match, the first one, going to L.A., would have been checkmate. But I think he's played these perfectly, and the fans in those areas that are losing their teams, and yes, and I know the great John Buscenda and the autumn wind will no longer roar through Raider country in Oakland, but the fact of the matter is, Ted, this is a business, it's a brand, and that's how the NFL looks at it, and that's how fans have to understand. Even if something were to happen to our beloved Steelers, which thank goodness the Rooneys have enough foresight to understand how to grow that business. Just look at the infrastructure that is the North Side. I've said many times, ever since Heinz Field went up, it's turned into a thriving metropolis. You saw what happened in Cleveland. Art Modell tried for years. They left, and now they were fortunate enough to get another opportunity. But again, Ted, it's all about driving the brand, and that's what the NFL does best. I like these 3 moves, and I know there's some people on the other end that may not be happy, but I think in the long run, this is going to be good for the future growth of this great game that we love so much.
Well, I think it'll be good for the growth in ways that we can't even see right now. Part of it may be national sports wagering. They do it in England. They do it in Europe. I mean, if they do it in the U.S. of A., they do it behind closed doors, and that could be an industry that could really flourish under the moves that the NFL has just made. And you look at it, you're going to have a major market segment. There's still going to be a lot of people who are Oakland fans live in Oakland and live in L.A. you're still going to come out to Las Vegas to see this team play.
I know.
And what great rivalries when these three teams, the two LA teams and the Vegas teams, start playing each other, and then you get San Francisco thrown in. The West Coast rivalry is going to be incredible.
Now listen, it's been 10 years up until last year that they had a winning record. And isn't it ironic, you got Derek Carr, who led the Raiders to a 12-4 record last year. They could actually, and I saw this quote earlier, win their city a Super Bowl before they leave town. That's how good this Oakland team is under Jack Del Rio, Ted.
They're a good team. I expected them to go far last year, and really they did. They did go pretty far. But they've got good young components that they're going to be able to add on to, and I think the Oakland Raiders are going to be one of the teams to watch out for in the AFC. So it'll be fun to watch, and I can't wait to see the Las Vegas Raiders. I just think it's got such an awesome sound to it.
Well, if there was ever a team that was meant to play in the City of Lights,
yeah.
And I can tell you one thing: Al Davis would be the first in line to get a ticket if he could. And I must tell you, I was looking at his son Mark, who I have a lot of respect for. But, his dad, they broke the mold when they made him, and I know he would be very happy about this. And I do wish the entire Davis family and Raider Nation the best. And as you said, hey, for those 8 home games a year at this point, why not, get yourself a hotel package and, get on some sort of plane and hop on over and enjoy the entire weekend. There's nothing like watching a football game on one of those big screen TVs in a casino. I've talked to people, Ted, who've gone to the Super Bowl festivities, just enjoying the weekend in Vegas, and have gone to the game itself and have said they have had a much better time going to the casinos in Las Vegas. So I think this is very, very exciting news for everyone that loves, as we do, the National Football League. Now let's talk about some other things. I know there's, 11 lords leaping, but there'll be no more leaping defenders when it comes to the field goal, and meaning those on the defensive side of the football. Do you like that? I kind of am sad that they're taking that out of the game, because it was exciting to see if someone could get up high enough to tip that football.
But the only part that they're trying to watch are the safeties of the players. If a center gets up while he's catching a knee, while somebody's trying to leap over him, it can be dangerous. If a guard reaches up, grabs somebody who's trying to leap over and flips him up, he could easily land on his head. So I think it's a good call. I mean, it only happened 3 or 4 times a season as it was. So certainly it wasn't anything that was an actual expected part of an NFL game. But I think it's a good call. I'm being a person who is very close to special teams. I think you have to really protect the long snappers, and that's the best job in the whole NFL, is be a long snapper.
All right,
you don't want to ruin that.
A couple of other things that I have taken away from the NFL owner meeting, the NFL Network, with all this stuff, is the fact no more of the officials going over and putting their head under the hood. They wait out on the field for one of those smart tablets to come out. Then they wait for the league officials to make the decision. They want the pace of the game to go along quicker, and they want to kind of do the whole sudden death thing in 10 minutes. The idea is to make the flow a lot more seamless. I like what Roger Goodell is trying to do, but in the long run, do you think that the fan base and the hierarchy, meaning the other owners and coaches, will be able to accept some of these things that they're trying to do? And how much more difficult, or will it not make it more difficult but easier for the great NFL officials to do their job, Ted?
I think it's going to make it a lot easier. I mean, let's face it, we can see things better than the officials can watching on a 60-inch in your rec room. And to have all those cameras be focused into the experts in New York and have it speed the game up. Remember, the NFL had, for the first time, a little bit of a downtick in its viewership this year. A lot of people thought it was because of Colin Kaepernick, which I don't believe. But I think, that the games were getting a little bit long, and really the college games have made a lot of moves to speed those games along. And I think this is just going to be consistent with what the viewership wants. They want to see this, football being played. Too many times it was, you were waiting and waiting. The other thing that they're playing around with is commercial breaks to make the game move faster. It's all based on the fans. If they thought the fans wanted more commercials, they'd put them in. Or if they thought they want just localized officiating, they put it in. But the fans want speed. They want it. People are watching 8 games at a time now. They want to move it along.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Arnaud every single Sunday at 12:30 on the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh Newsline on News Radio 1020 KDK's Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. Everything that is the National Football League. And now for Ted and Jimmy Doe Savage and all of us here at Legacy Studios in East Liverpool for a midweek Wednesday. Good night.